Hello kiddies, welcome back to Tech Spurt Weekly, the tech news show equivalent of getting partway through a half-hearted tug in the shower and then discovering a lump. And this week we're having a crafty squint at the upcoming OnePlus 13 flagship phone, one of the most hotly anticipated rectangular things right now. And OnePlus itself has confirmed that its latest spangly blower will be launched on October the 31st over in China, although it's not expected to be spaffed out globally for at least another month or two, possibly even early 2025. So what can we actually expect from the OnePlus 13? Well, if you're giddy with excitement and can't wait until next week for all the hot details, well, no worries, because OnePlus has once again proven that it's hideously awful at keeping secrets. Seriously, don't ever tell OnePlus about that weird fantasy you have about the llamas and the bubble wrap, because 2 minutes later it'll be all over their f***ing Facebook page. Tech Spurt Weekly! So for one, we already know what the OnePlus 13 will look like thanks to this wee video that they posted showing off the three main colours, including this rather snazzy blue number here, which I'm absolutely already at half-mast for. The main design change appears to be that screen, which should be subtly curved at all four edges, similar to Samsung's Galaxy S23 Ultra, but still mostly flat rather than proper slopey at the edges like the old OnePlus 12. But like the current flagship, the OnePlus 13 should once again be a 6.8-inch mega bastard, so one-handed use is pretty much out. And apparently the OnePlus 13 will be IP69 rated for water and dust resistance rather than the regular IP68. And what this means is not only can it be fully submerged in water, but it can also tolerate being blasted by hot liquid jets over and over. Something incidentally that your mum is also highly rated for. That OLED screen should be a 2K stunner with a built-in ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. And the main headline here is that apparently, again, according to good old OnePlus themselves running their mouths ahead of the launch, this panel can display images at different refresh rates in separate areas simultaneously. So theoretically, if you're, say, watching a video up at the top bit of your smartphone screen, that could be running at 30 Hz. While if you're browsing the web down below, that could be running at 90 or 120 Hz to keep that scrolling nice and smooth. And you know, fair play if that is indeed the case, because that is some top-notch smart arsery. Meanwhile, performance will be provided by Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset, which was only just unveiled over at their glamorous Hawaiian summit. Sadly, your Uncle Spurt couldn't make it there this year. I might possibly be on some Hawaiian police lists after the previous summit. It's all a bit of a blur right now, but something to do with the traditional kukui beads and a family-sized jar of Vaseline. For its beefy new Orion CPU, the Snapdragon 8 Elite says big jobbies to efficiency cores, and instead it goes all in with 64-bit prime and performance cores. So it's now stupidly powerful and also hopefully won't melt every phone that it's slapped inside of. And apparently the Snapdragon 8 Elite is significantly more energy efficient compared with previous Snapdragon generations, so hopefully it won't suck those batteries dry either. Speaking of which, apparently the OnePlus 13 will sport a mighty 6000 mAh capacity battery, one of the biggest found in any blower so far, and that'll offer up a bit of 100 watt wired charging and 50 watt wireless charging. So yeah, consider that half-mast action properly upgraded to full-mast. Woof. But what about the software? Well, there shouldn't be many surprises there either, because we've already had a proper full-on squint at the OxygenOS 15 experience you'll expect to come shipped with that OnePlus 13. In fact, your Unc has done you a proper feature-length hands-on video all about it, which went live yesterday, and it really is a rather smashing piece of work, complete with that Tech Spurt guarantee of at least 90% recycled knob gags and fewer made-up facts than ever before. If you can't be bothered to go and watch it though, well, the TLDR version is OxygenOS 15 is rather ruddy great. It's impressively smooth, it's lighter than previous versions of the launcher, and they've packed in some trouser-rousing new customization features. But one of the big new features that you'll only find in the OnePlus 13 that won't be retroactively, why can I never say retroactively? Retroactively rolled out to previous OnePlus smartphones is the intelligent search feature. And this can apparently scan through all of the documents you have saved on your phone for a specific bit of information. So say you've got a concert ticket saved onto your phone, you can say, what time does the Chumbawamba concert start? Don't know why I chose Chumbawamba there, just the first thing that popped into my head, which says an awful lot about my head. And the intelligent search will be able to pop up with the exact time that it all kicks off. You don't miss a single vital minute of Chumbawambaing. Now, we've not seen too many leaks about the optics of the OnePlus 13, but it is expected to sport a triple 50 meg camera arrangement, all three of them using a Sony LYTIA sensor. I'm kind of surprised that more manufacturers don't stick with a specific brand for all of the camera sensors on their phones as well, because at least when you're zooming in and out, you'll get consistent tones. You won't find that colors are suddenly getting darker or lighter or whatever. And that honking great H branding on the phone's arse means that yes, Hasselblad will once again be fine-tuning those pictures and dishing up their custom filters. Complete, of course, with the usual AI shenanigans for processing your photo and also editing them. Doing really f***ing well today for editing your photos after you've taken them. And that right there, in a succinct wee nutshell, is what we think we know about the OnePlus 13. So as you can see, not many surprises probably left for the launch next week, unless all of these leaks have been total trouser. So where on the excitement scale do you reckon you are right now? Are we talking full mast, half mast, or limp mast? Definitely do please let us know down in the comments below. And now it's time for the part of the show that happens after 99% of the audience have already buggered off, so I might as well just sit here for the next 7 minutes scratching my nuts, which would probably be more entertaining anyway. It's viewer comments. Viewer comments. Let's kick off this week with Saturn Blue, who says, I can't imagine your nether regions ever being considered environmentally friendly. I can't even remember the context of this, but yeah, agreed. As far as environmental disasters go, my crotch is probably right up there with that BP oil spill. Sovereign Saint raises a good point, says, any plans on doing another live stream? The last one was 4 years ago, according to YouTube. I can't believe it's been that long. That's terrifying. That must have been during lockdown and everything, I guess. But yeah, in terms of the live streams, I've been mulling them over for a significant amount of time now. I do enjoy doing them, but unfortunately I'm a bit at the whole multitasking side of things, especially after a few shandies. So, you know, trying to keep tabs on the chat and also keep some sort of flow going and everything, I've just really struggled. But ideally, I need somebody else to help out with the live chats. If I could do it with somebody, you know, another tech twat or something, that would be fantastic. But stay tuned. Well, you know, at the very least, maybe I'll finally get my OnlyFans account off the ground. Do some pretty mind-blowing stuff with Hawaiian kukui beads. On the subject of Junji Ito books as well, we've got a recommendation from Lock On and Fire, who says Junji Ito's Cat Diary. It is exactly what it sounds like. Ito's horror visuals, this time illustrating the mundane realities of living with cats. I mean, I live with a pair of cats who are unfortunately exceptionally good at hunting. And of course they like to bring their kills home. They've got a cat flap so they can just wander straight into our kitchen. So yesterday I went down for a coffee and it basically looked like Michael Myers had gotten loose on the set of Sylvanian Families. Just tiny furry limbs and spines all over the place. But cool, Cat Diary, thanks for the recommendation, Lock On and Fire. I will definitely check that out. And of course, last week's episode was all about the upcoming iPhone SE, which hopefully this time won't be a soggy sack of sausage scrapings. So quite a lot of correspondence, including Ravensclaw, who says the iPhone SE review time will be about as welcome as alcohol prohibition for Uncle Spurt. I mean, I'm kind of hoping that the new iPhone SE won't be anywhere near as painful to review as the previous model, but I'll certainly have a crate of single malt on standby. Here is a Barra reader, says, just repurpose the iPhone minis into the iPhone SE and call it a day, damn it. Lots of others agree with you as well. Daniel Brown, for instance, says an iPhone 13 mini rebranded as an SE would be just too good to be true. And yeah, I 100% agree. I'd be pretty bloody happy if they gave us an iPhone SE, which was basically just an iPhone 13 mini with an updated camera and, you know, the A18 shoved in there and hopefully decent battery life still. So that last iPhone mini was the last iPhone I actually remember enjoying using. I've got not a hope in hell of saying this properly, so apologies in advance. Xiaomi26 says, I think Apple should have stayed with the XR, the 10R, sorry, and improved its design or made a budget iPhone 11 or 12. I think that would have been better than the SE. Yeah, the iPhone XR wasn't a bad phone, but it did feel quite budgety, and yeah, Apple still decided to charge 750 quid for it, and that was for the base model. Jackson Berger says, I don't understand the hate for this phone. It's great for kids and parents who want the cheapest iPhone with the longest support. They really don't care about anything as long as it's from the fruit company. Yeah, I just don't understand giving your kids a phone that costs nearly £500 when you could hand them a £100 Android phone that basically does everything they want to do and everything you want it to do, basically play Netflix on family outings so they shut the f*** up and let daddy drink in peace. And Graham Mimikyu says, oh my, after all these years, now I know why I have a free U2 album. I thought somebody used my iTunes to download it. I wouldn't even do that to my worst enemy. And Sharp VidTube says, I still love that U2 album. Yeah, fair play. I'm sure plenty of people did enjoy it as well. Personally, I enjoy music where it's basically just a bunch of angry, sweaty men shouting a lot. I don't know, it just speaks to my soul on so many levels. Etienne Sharp says that Vision Pro SE looks suspiciously like Eddie's play telescope in the Christmas episode of Top Anarchic Comedy Grade Bottom. An absolutely cracking episode, no doubt. Watch that religiously every single Christmas. And speaking of which, it's almost time to crack out the old Halloween episode as well. We make the homebrew in the bath and Richie keeps on fouling his tights over and over again. A fellow citizen says, I hereby nominate you for Poet Laureate. That's incredibly sweet, although I'm not sure I'm what they're looking for. I think I'd probably just spend most of my time seeing how many words I could get to rhyme with How does one become a Poet Laureate thing anyway? Is it like a voting thing? Is it like a strictly come dancing competition where a bunch of posh plebs try to out-poet one another? Alpaca Mail says, was the name The Critical Drinker taken when you created this channel? That's just a bit too highbrow for me, to be honest. I just wanted to get a mucky word in there like spurt that then manufacturers would be forced to print on nice looking badges whenever I went to their launch events. Lord Burke says, I'm looking for a new bookcase shelf type thing. What make is the one behind you, please? Where did I get this thing from? Give me a second. Right, apparently this one here is the Fulton Bookcase Pine from Dunelm. And yeah, highly recommended. I put up that bugger completely by myself in about 90 minutes, and that was after about 4 or 5 Madries as well. Yeah, sturdy stuff, still standing. Yep, still standing. Anyway, bang out of time, so better make this the last one than bugger off. So Michael W says, you've been in the new house for a month and you've already buried the neighbour's yapping dog under the porch. That must be some kind of record. Yeah, man, yappy dogs are just absolutely the worst. You know, they're bad enough at the best of times, but then when your job involves shooting a load of video all day long, you got that shit going off in the background. It's about as pleasant as a cactus codpiece. Anyway, no worries, if there are any more yappy dogs moving into the neighbourhood, I'm pretty sure my 2 cats will see it away. Have their intestines smeared across my kitchen lino. Anywho, a massive thank you to everyone who commented last week. Lots of fun going through those as always. Please do smash your comments down below and we will merrily prance our way through as many of those as possible next week. And speaking of next week, what the f is next week? There's a couple of little bits going on next week, including the Nothing Phone 2-Way Community Edition being unveiled on Wednesday the 30th at 11 AM UK time. If you haven't heard of this, it's a special limited edition version of the Nothing Phone 2-Way as designed by the fans. And I'm not at all getting images of the Homer car from The Simpsons here. And frankly, if I designed it, I would have just hollowed the bugger out and had myself a disco hip flask. And next Friday, of course, join me, your Uncle Spurt, for a special spooky Halloween edition of TechSpurt Weekly. Ooh! It's not really going to be any different from usual, but it'll certainly bloody involve a few spirits, that's for sure. Anyway, thanks again for watching this shower of shit to the bitter end, and make sure you have yourself a bloody wonderful weekend. Cheers, everybody. Love you.